Okay, friends, it is Tim Kirby Russia coming at you with a quick live stream. I don't think I'm going to be on too long today because we only have essentially one big question. So I asked you guys more or less what do you want to talk about on a live stream? And it seemed like overwhelmingly, or at least louder than anything else, people wanted to hear about what the Russians are thinking about the U.S. midterms, because today is actually the second Tuesday of November, so it looks like we're going to be having some voting in the United States, okay? So, anyways, I'm getting this out early because, remember, in Russia, we are sort of in the future, so America is still asleep at present because it's the middle of the day right now as we're recording. But anyways, in order to answer what Russians are thinking about the midterm elections currently, we have to go back in time a little bit to sort of understand the context, because Russians have a little bit of U.S. election fatigue, as do Americans themselves. So anyways, if you go back to a time before a strange orange man ran for office, things were very exciting when Trump was running, and they were very exciting in Russia. Now, the thing is, some twit or troll who's listening to this would write, of course it was exciting because he was Putin's candidate or some sort of Manchurian candidate or whatever. Well, after 4 years, it's pretty obvious that he wasn't a Manchurian candidate. But then again, conspiracy theories die hard, and maybe they just believe that it was the good forces in like the CIA kind of kept him under wraps or something, and he was a Manchurian candidate. But anyways, in the lead up to the election where Trump beat Hillary Clinton, Russians were very excited because Trump said something that they wanted to hear. Hillary Clinton declared Russia to be some sort of evil enemy, whereas Trump said he wanted to work with the Russians. He never said anything about wanting to have some sort of like grand alliance with Russia or something radical. He simply said that he wanted to work with Russia, and overall, Trump saw China as the main threat. Now, one could argue that it's kind of stupid. Why does America need to have a threat? Like, why? Like, basically, if Russia's a friend, why does it force the United States to have an enemy in China? Or why does the United States have to have an enemy at all? That's a good question. I think the short answer to that would be the military-industrial complex wants an enemy, and I think it would have been very hard for Trump to get into office on some sort of hippie, like, we can be friends with everyone. Or he honestly sees China as the enemy. There's also that, too. I know he definitely, at the very least, sees China as the reason why America lost so many jobs, and as a not an active threat, but a sort of passive threat to the American economy. So, but anyways, long story short, Trump was like, no, despite the fact that the mainstream media did not like it, as did many other people. He was like, nope, we're going to work with Russia. And so when Trump actually got elected, there were celebrations across Russia because everyone was hoping that Trump's presence would somehow Trump's presence would somehow change what's happening in Ukraine. Because remember, as I've told you before, issue number one in Russia since 2014 has been Ukraine and nothing else. It is the alpha and the omega of all news stories. It is the most important thing. It is really at the epicenter of all political debate and discussion and everything. There is nothing else, okay? Well, maybe there is something else, but it's second tier, all right? So anyways, people were very hopeful that Trump would come in and that maybe he would sort of give up on, I think that was still Poroshenko back then. Or was it already Zelensky? I think it was Poroshenko. Well, anyways, I think they were just wanted Trump to come in and essentially give up on the Ukraine and maybe find some sort of resolution of this, cut the Ukraine in half, and everyone goes home a winner, basically. But, of course, that didn't happen. And basically everything that Trump kind of wanted to do in terms of getting along with Russia didn't happen either. But people at the time when he was elected were very optimistic. In fact, I was invited to something where I don't quite know how to describe it. It was kind of like a gathering or champagne tasting kind of party in honor of Trump's victory amongst basically the Russian patriotic intellectual elite, kind of. I don't know what you want to call it. The not liberals. So anyways, I went to that. I had a lovely time. Everyone was excited. I was a little bit skeptical But as we saw from Trump's presidency, he made a lot of mistakes, or he did exactly what he wanted to do and lied to everyone. So it's kind of hard to tell with Trump, you know. Well, it's going to take a little bit more time, I think, to really break down just what exactly his logic of his presidency was. But some people are certainly threatened by it, that's for sure. That's something we know for absolute sure. Okay, so anyways, after this massive, massive disappointment that was the Trump presidency for Russians, whether Trump was a disappointment for you as an American or other, that's up to you. But the Trump presidency definitely was a disappointment, and it proved the old adage that presidents change, foreign policy stays the same. Guys, I don't mean to beat that drum. There's certain drums I beat on this program. I'm sorry, but it's true. You know, they change, but, you know, doesn't matter. Democrat or Republican, we seem to always be involved in some sort of foreign wars. So, although Trump didn't start anything new, that was how he bucked the trend. He did not start a new war. Good for him. We had 4 years of maybe not 4 years of military stagnation. And that was a good trend. Let's keep that trend going. Maybe someone like Trump can get back in office. Anyways, so the thing is that right now, I would say of people I know in Russia who are talking to me who are a little bit more politically active, there's a little bit of excitement about the midterm elections because certain Republicans, like what was it, DeSantis and Marjorie Taylor Greene, is that her name? Her last name is definitely Greene. I think it's Marjorie Taylor Greene. Well, Ms. Greene, possibly Mrs. Greene, I don't know her marital status. Those two have at least come out and said that, you know, if the Republicans win big, they're going to pull support for this whole Ukraine garbage. This all stinks. Please forgive WhatsApp. It's making noises. WhatsApp, I'm going to force you to be quiet. That's not nice. Stop. Oh, no, there we go. The window came back. The window vanished for a second. That was terrifying. You probably saw on the video the look of pure fear in a man's eyes as the live stream vanished from my gaze. Anyways, I'll open the chat. It doesn't see anything. That's okay. We're not going to do too chit-chat today. But anyways, so getting back to the topic at hand is that besides some people I know are kind of politically savvy and are aware of things, because first off, this isn't a presidential year. So the presidential election years within America itself as well get a lot more attention. And I think a lot of people in Russia haven't super paid a ton of attention to the midterm elections. I mean, the big political TV talk shows, I'm sure, have mentioned it. But after the whole Trump disappointment thing, you know, I don't think that there's really waves of Russians who are super excited that DeSantis and Greene and maybe some other Republicans, if they win, and that somehow that's going to create some sort of radical change on the territory of the Ukraine. And that, again, what will happen, what should have happened with Trump, what should have happened in 2014, which arguably probably should have happened after World War II or at some point in history a long, long time ago before the end of the Cold War, the Ukraine is going to have to be split up. So there's not that much hope for that, and I'm very skeptical that any of these Republicans who come into power are going to actually do this. Maybe they will. Who knows? Maybe they're going to really try to spite the Democrats, or because the thing is will they do this out of the goodness of their hearts? No. Could they do this in some way to really, really attack the Democrats? Maybe, if they want to. The question is how much they want to. Because right now, what Colonel McGregor, I just shared a video about this, I believe, yesterday. Colonel McGregor stated that he has information that some kind of brigadier general, like 200 American troops, are in the Ukraine to supposedly be like weapons inspectors to inspect all the weapons that have been stolen or sold off. And he sort of begs the question of why they're doing this like 8 months too late. And he thinks it's sort of like an excuse to get the first wave of troops, to get another wave, to get another wave, get another wave. And he's probably right. But I think there's a small chance that if the Republicans get into power, that group of American soldiers there being there to sort of inspect the weapons and to see what arrived, what didn't arrive, that provides an interesting angle for the Republicans. Because if they get in power, what can they do? They can say, well, we have these inspectors here, and the inspectors can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that probably literally 60 to 75% of this stuff got stolen. Well, just guess. An extremely large amount of this got stolen or never made it to the front lines from being blown up or something. So what they could do as the way to get out of this is basically weave this narrative that the Democrats well, first off, it's a proof of Democrat corruption because they sent this money to make money there. So they could sort of attack the Democrats on the corruption side. But the real way out is they could say that Kiev betrayed us. Let's think about it this way. We wanted to invite them into the democratic family of nations. We thought that they were crying to live a free life and be like us in the West. But with their corruption and thievery, they've proven that they'll never be a part of the West. And with those words, that would essentially be able to end the Kiev conflict, where America could walk away winning, yet also losing, where America could completely pull out and yet look like the winner and maintain the sort of ideological status quo. So that's my real hope, is that if the Republicans win, and you have to remember, with a lot of questionable antics, I don't see how the Republicans are going to have much of a future if they don't learn how to deal with those antics. But anyways, if they do have a very strong victory, people in Russia are a little medium kind of light hopeful that maybe they'll be able to do something. But I'm not. But I hold out a small hope in my heart that now they definitely have the angle and they have the proof that essentially the majority, definitely, let's talk about what we know. The majority of everything that was sent to the Ukraine has been squandered or stolen or, corruption. So now that they have the proof of that, I think really if someone did want to get out of the war while maintaining face and looking like the strong guy, they could do that. This narrative that I just mentioned about how it was you who gave in to corruption. You're secretly still, I don't know, Ruskies or whatever they want to say. You're part of the bad guys. You're still some sort of Eastern European despotic regime. You lied to us. You tricked America into helping you, and you've stolen millions from us. So damn you to hell, and we'll feed you to the Russian dogs, you animals. And so that is what I think is the best case scenario for this. But I don't think that it's likely. And this is actually what I just said. I haven't heard that anywhere. This is not me repeating anything. That's an original Tim Kirby Russia thought. So if you want to share that around, I came up with that first, as far as I know. But that's very unlikely to happen. What is likely to happen is the Republicans will win a few more seats. They'll take a majority, and life will go on. And the war will continue to grind on the way it has been until it grinds to an eventual very, very, very slow death. As now Ukraine doesn't really seem to have much manpower left. It's being replaced by pretty much all mercenaries. And by mercenaries, we mean NATO soldiers, regular soldiers that are in different uniforms, mercenary uniforms. Why do I say that? Because you guys have to remember, the first waves of mercenaries, where they called mercenaries from around the world to go and join Ukraine, what did they get? A couple magazines filled with 10 bullets each and sent to the front, okay? You have to remember back at the beginning of the war, the mercenaries basically all fled and ran away because they were not equipped and not given anything and basically not it didn't meet expectations. Now, all of a sudden, Ukraine has tons and tons of mercenaries, tons of gear, all ready to go, no problems on the mercenary front. I wonder why. Because Ukraine isn't paying for them. they're not true mercenaries. They're the Polish, Romanian, and American standing armies. But anyways, guys, that's really all I had to say. Let's see. Did we have any questions coming up here? I don't think so. No, I got no questions. Anyways, I just wanted to do a quick answer on that. I'm going to upload this to the channel right now. Oh, yeah, we're going to leave the live stream.